Hello and welcome to Inside the Americas. I'm Delano D'Souza. Coming up on the show this week, Elon Musk bags Twitter for $44 billion. The billionaire Tesla founder is promising to uphold free speech, but not everyone's convinced. A state of emergency extended over in El Salvador. Some 17,000 suspected gang members have been arrested in the span of a month. And Rio de Janeiro throws a spectacle for the world by hosting Carnival for the first time in 2 years. But first, we start with a huge business story this week. Elon Musk picking up Twitter for $44 billion. The billionaire Tesla founder is promising to protect free speech and bring about much-needed changes, including taking on bots and introducing an edit button. Here's a closer look at the man himself.
Inaugurating a mammoth new Tesla factory, Elon Musk arrives to a rock star-worthy chorus of cheers. Named Time magazine's Person of the Year in 2021, Musk is the world's richest person, with an estimated net worth of $266 billion according to Forbes.
3, 2, 1.
Aside from his venture with the lucrative electric car maker, the entrepreneur is also known for founding rocket producer SpaceX. Musk's ambitions don't end on Earth. He's long believed in colonizing other planets.
We can bring life as we know it and breathe life into Mars where it doesn't exist today, and ensure that if there is some cataclysmic event on Earth, that life as we know it continues to exist.
Born in South Africa in 1971, Musk displayed an early interest in technology and talent for entrepreneurship. At just 12 years old, he created and sold a video game to a computer magazine. Musk moved to Canada as a teenager before studying physics and economics in the United States. Then in 1999, he co-founded what would soon be known as PayPal. The brash billionaire seemed to set his sights on Twitter earlier this month. On April 4, he became the company's largest shareholder with 9.2%. He later offered $43 billion for the social network, citing better freedom of speech as a motivation. He's voiced a number of proposals for the site, like relaxing its content restrictions, which saw former President Donald Trump's account suspended.
It's always been his platform of choice. It's how he has 80 million subscribers that follow him on Twitter. But now it's really him trying to own the platform, take it private, and change it.
Despite his free speech talk, Musk has come under fire for mocking a Tesla whistleblower and calling a rescue worker who helped save children from a flooded cave a, quote, pedo guy.
We can now bring in Chris Bale, Director of the Polarization Lab at Duke University. Thank you very much for joining us here on France 24. What's your initial reaction to this deal? Because Musk buying Twitter is surprisingly divisive on Twitter itself.
Well, first, thanks for having me. Yeah, this is a sudden development, shocked all of us, and we're still working out the details. But overall, there's an optimistic scenario and a pessimistic scenario, and I think time will tell which one will play out.
Elon Musk says he wants to protect free speech on the platform. Of course, conservatives are hoping that the move brings Donald Trump back onto the platform. Shouldn't the former president of the United States be on the platform? And who decides who should muzzle him?
Well, that's really the question. Who's going to decide? Right now, I think Mr. Musk may have a somewhat naive idea about how this could work. He seems to champion free speech above all else, which is a noble idea. It comes with a spirit of libertarianism, I think. However, someone somewhere is going to make many decisions about who should be allowed on the platform, and this gray area in between what is acceptable and what is not acceptable will always be a line that someone has to draw. And I think once we see not only Mr. Trump's case, but many other cases of people who have tested the limits of acceptable behavior on the platform, we'll see that it might not be as easy as he hopes.
Chris, billionaires own the media all over the world. We have it in the United States with the Washington Post, which is owned by Amazon founder Jeff Bezos. We have it here in France, in countries like India. What's different this time around? Why are we seeing this uproar?
Well, I think what's different this time is that Twitter is widely viewed, as Mr. Musk himself says, as democracy's public square. Many people have issues with Twitter. They might not always like it, but it is perhaps the most prominent public outlet that allows virtually anyone to enter into a conversation about politics. Not everybody uses Twitter, but it probably has an outsized role in shaping politics. We certainly saw that in the United States with Trump. We've seen that in Brexit in the UK, and certainly with the recent resurgence of Le Pen in France as well. There's a real role that Twitter seems to play, and I think that's why so many people are concerned.
Now, Elon Musk says he wants to make Twitter's content policing algorithm open source. Firstly, what does that mean in layman's terms, and doesn't Twitter already do enough on that front?
Yes, this is a complicated issue. We all, have some ideas of what an algorithm is, but practically speaking, what an algorithm does on social media is it tries to guess what type of content we want to see, or more exactly, what type of content will keep us engaged on social media. And most algorithms work by looking at the type of material that other people are engaging with, that other people are liking, sharing, commenting on, and so on. And then it tends to boost that type of content to the top of our feeds, or at least that's what most of us think. The problem is that these are driven by artificial intelligence, and they make different recommendations for all of us. And so, we really don't know why we're seeing the content that we're seeing. And I think this is one of the more noble ideas that Mr. Musk has put out there, to help people understand why they're seeing the content that they do. But once again, I think it's going to be a bit more complicated than he thinks.
Chris Bale, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us on the program today.
Sure.
Now, a lawmaker from Michigan is making waves in the United States. This for an impassioned speech she made on the floor of the state capitol. Senator Mallory Morrow is defending herself against false GOP attacks that Democrats want to groom school children. Take a listen.
So who am I? I am a straight, white, Christian, married, suburban mom who knows that the very notion that learning about slavery or redlining or systemic racism somehow means that children are being taught to feel bad or hate themselves because they are white is absolute nonsense. No child alive today is responsible for slavery. No one in this room is responsible for slavery. But each and every single one of us bears responsibility for writing the next chapter of history. I want every child in this state to feel seen, heard, and supported, not marginalized and targeted because they are not straight, white, and Christian. We cannot let hateful people tell you otherwise, to scapegoat and deflect from the fact that they are not doing anything to fix the real issues that impact people's lives. And I know that hate will only win if people like me stand by and let it happen.
Over 17,000 suspected gang members have been arrested in El Salvador in the span of a month. A state of emergency in the country has been extended by another 30 days. It came into effect after 62 people were murdered in a single day. The emergency measures have proven controversial, however. Suspects are allowed to be arrested without a warrant. Now, it was delayed not once, but twice due to COVID-19, but Rio's carnival did take place last weekend. There were fears the event would be cancelled due to the Omicron variant, but earlier this year, officials decided to push it back to April. Kathy Clifford reports.
It's this explosion of colours and sequins that Rio residents have been waiting impatiently for after 2 years of cancellations.
This is the carnival of resistance. After so many difficulties, after we were stuck at home, the city has organised itself to host the carnival. It's very moving. I'm holding myself together here not to cry.
Brazil's most famous spectacle flooded into Rio's Sambadrome. The city's giant carnival venue was used as a drive-through vaccination centre at the height of the pandemic. Backstage, getting back into her costume is an emotional moment for Marley. She's been performing for over 30 years alongside her husband.
It's such an important and strange day for me, because 1 year ago I lost the love of my life, who died of COVID. it would have been him who dressed me today. So I'm performing for him, for me, and for the school.
A night spent getting back in touch with the city's magic after 2 years of a pandemic which has traumatized residents. In these warehouses in the centre, Samba schools have been holding top-secret preparations over the past 7 months. Each school spends around €250,000 per parade, a budget which has been reduced due to the pandemic. The Vice President had to chase sponsors to hire some 3,000 workers to snip and sew together the festival's flamboyant image.
Each school is a major employer. They each manage a chain of suppliers too. So luckily the town hall and the regional government helped us. We receive a cut of the tickets that are sold.
COVID-19 has claimed more than 660,000 lives in Brazil, second only to the US.
It's a moment of rebirth, of understanding that we have to hope, even though we have lost many people and we are living in a post-pandemic financial crisis. We are confident that everything will work out.
The carnival marks the start of a new chapter for the country. Authorities have just declared an end to the state of emergency.
That's it for this edition of Inside the Americas. From all of us on the team, thank you very much for watching.
From North to South Africa, from Bamako to Nairobi, from Accra to Mogadishu. Bringing you all the political, economic, cultural and social news from Africa for a better insight into an ever-changing continent.
Across Africa, presented by Georgia Calvin-Smith on France 24 and France24.com.
On France 24, watch exclusive interviews with the world's most influential personalities.
We need to act together because we're protecting our freedom.
Encounters with key political leaders.
L'inquiétude, elle est extrême.
Leading figures from the worlds of culture, sport and science.
La science, la recherche, la découverte, le progrès, c'est important, c'est pas des mots qui sont vides.
Whatever you think is right, you can do.
Watch The Interview, a meeting of ideas on France 24 and France24.com.
Liberté, égalité, actualité.